And we're back. Cold is finally gone, so out of the basement, and I'm excited because that means that I can safely excrete as many bodily fluids as I want to without any negative repercussions. Well, maybe legal ones depending on the bodily fluids, but I'm not going to excrete those ones in the gym. But it is max effort lower day, max effort pulls, and the plan for this day, I wanted to do a descending band wave. So 2 weeks ago, I pulled against the light band. This week, the plan was monster mini, and then 2 weeks later, the plan was micro mini. The problem with that plan is that I didn't have a good pair of monster minis or micro minis. Excuse me, burping up the monster. So I ordered some from Elite, and they were supposed to be here on Friday, but with the cold snap, UPS wasn't delivering, so I am still monster mini bandless, which means that I need to pivot the plan. And I figure like a decent replacement will be to run approximately the same amount of accommodating resistance from chains. And like, it ain't gonna be perfect, but in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't make that big of a difference. I would prefer bands because bands are a lot harder for me on deadlifts. Like, if you've never used chains or bands, the difference between chains and bands is the feel of them and kind of how they kick in. And in theory, they're both making the top of the lift heavier than the bottom, right? But the way that they do it is going to be a little bit different because with chains, as we lift the bar, more chain comes off the ground, so we're getting more mass for gravity to pull down against. With bands though, it's not that we're adding mass to the bar because the band isn't really, like a band is 500 grams tops. What we're doing with a band is we're adding acceleration because of the elasticity. So with a chain, it's just the acceleration of gravity pulling down. With a band, you have the acceleration of gravity and the acceleration of the elastic in the band also pulling down. So it kind of makes it feel a lot more aggressive on a pound per pound basis, in my opinion. Like, bands definitely kick harder and I definitely have to have more assertiveness to get through. Whereas a chain, I can kind of just like grind and chug through, and like speed of the rep through my sticking point doesn't matter as much. And with someone who is good at chugging through deadlifts, like the chains definitely let me have an easier time. So I'll try to be a little bit mindful of that with loading today, but it has been freaking forever since I have pulled with chains, so little excited to see where they end up. So let's get on a bar.
Huh? You're staring at me.
Looking for inspiration. Gotta tell the camera how to set up chains. Feels about right. Slippers off. That'll work. Gotta remember to enunciate.
Get your announcer's voice.
Well, just like pronouncing all the syllables in the words.
Oh, this is Seth.
Yes. Still playing with not pumping into the bar right now. Feels good, but I really gotta remember to get a little bit more pre-tension, get a little bit taller before I drop down for that wedge. Maybe a little better. Based on that last one, I might actually pump into this one. Yeah, pump works better. Pump in is definitely working. And the reason that I wasn't pumping into the wedge 2 weeks ago is that at that point the hamstring strain was just a week old and it was getting in the way of how aggressive I could really rip into the bar. But because I was proactive about it, it is totally good to go today. Don't notice it at all. And pump feels like it is definitely helping with wedge quality. Still need a little bit more like leg press into the floor at initiation, but got 265 kilo on the bar now, so gonna do my best to make it look and feel good enough that I can take another one. Push, push, push. So kilo math is stupid because that was 260 kilo, not 265 because I don't have collars on the bar, but still moved pretty freaking good. Got some more legs into it, so we're going up. A little harder pack, a little harder toe pressure. Let's have some fun. Let's go. Is that better than the last one? Yeah. Yeah, just need to wake up a bit.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I was kind of on the fence about whether or not I should take that top set because the one before it really didn't move all that great. And like when you're on the fence about that kind of things, you got to think like, why didn't it move great? And like for myself today, I'm definitely a little bit tired still getting over the cold. And I kind of jacked up my wedge on that second last one. Like I wasn't forefoot pressure enough. I wasn't in the quads. I didn't stay over the bar. And that made my sticking point a lot more pronounced. And I knew exactly what I needed to fix to give myself the opportunity to make the top set move better. So I took the gamble and bet on myself and made the top set move better. And like, that's an example where it was the smart choice to go up. Now, if the second last set didn't move well and I was doing everything I could technically and like I thought everything was on and my headspace was dialed and it was still harder than it should have been, then that's a case where I would be very tempted to just like headbutt the wall and hit some nose torque and try to get there. But that would be the example of like where I probably shouldn't. So sometimes going up, betting on yourself, worth it. Sometimes definitely not. And I think that I made the right choice today. So on to some stiff legs. These, it's like I'm trying to round as much as I can control and then just make the initiation pretty much entirely from squeezing my ass as best as I can and just really try to find a hard ass squeeze at the top because I'm trying to build some more ass for my deadlift. running Zerchers next for 2 reasons. Number one, they're hard as shit for me, and I'll be able to get a decent stimulus without needing to put a lot of weight on the bar. And number two, they're hard as shit because they take a lot of brace and hip coordination to make work, and that is what I need to be working on right now with my squat. So let's run them. Name a more terrible squat variation. I dare ya. More make shit hard so don't need a lot of weight. If you just split squats, loaded overhead, just opens the fuck out of everything on the back leg side. And like with me needing more extension right now, gonna be a good option to get some of that back and then give me at least another decent stimulus on the knee flexion on the front side. Might actually need more weight because I'm gonna have to do a lot of reps to make this hard. Going up, might regret this. We'll see. Oh yeah. Woo-wee. Yeah, that's good for me. Finishing up lower stuff with Nordics. Big glute squeeze. Disgustingly hard. Wow.
You're disgustingly hard.
Not right now. Warrior mode. For those who don't know, warrior mode is when you're doing something strenuous and your penis hides inside of you. Is that too explicit for the vlog?
Maybe. I don't know.
Next one, short rest. This is gonna suck. Oh. And you hear so many people whining about not having a good place for Nordics at the gym, and it's like all you gotta do is just find something that you can shove your feet under, find something to put your knees on, and you got a place to do Nordics. And like, if you don't got something to shove your feet under, just get someone to like stand on your feet so that they stay down, and that's gonna work. One more. Yeah, that's hard. And as usual with these, gonna be letting them pull me into thoracic flexion and then arching as I row. key thing there is if we're round and arching, we want to make sure that we're not just like swinging, yanking out. We're really just squeezing into that arch, not going all herky-jerky on it. Running wide pull downs again, and I swear this is as low as I can pull right now, which kind of is a problem, but that's also why we're working on them. And I was planning on doing decline sit-ups, but decline bench is getting its pad replaced right now, which is friggin' sick. And I figure I'll wait till Miana's done with her midget settings on the GHR, and I'll run some GHR sit-ups to finish. Same thing as always, get to that hip extension, pull out of that hip extension. And go for that little glute squeeze at the bottom to make sure I'm actually at hip extension. Makes them way gnarlier. Another really decent session, actually really good session considering coming back from the cold. Like that was by far my best execution on pulls since the pack, and the strongest pulls have been since the pack. So like I should be pretty happy with that, right? But there still is like the thought creeping in that like, okay, it's the best I've done so far this prep, but 650 plus whatever the chain was, it's still a long ass ways off from where my pull was before the prep, and that's a little bit daunting to think about. But what I gotta remember is that I'm still 16 weeks out, I'm still coming back from something gnarly, and it's pretty normal that my deadlift isn't great at the start of meet preps. Like I've had preps where like mid fives feels heavy as shit, and then I still am able to pull well into the sevens by the end of the training cycle. So I got to keep that in mind, like thinking about moving forward. Like this, even though it's easy to be like, fuck, that isn't very good, it's still a very good point for where I am today. And like big picture, again, I'm not stoked, but bigger picture, I can't not be stoked with how this day panned out. And that's just it. Perspective. Remember where you are. Remember what you're trying to do. And like the goal is to pull a little bit better every single time I pull. And we're working on it. So 2 weeks, another deadlift day. Next week, I'll probably end up going to a comp squat to see how that is doing. Then once I get a heavier comp squat in, we can make some assessments on which direction to go with that. So peace out. On to the next week.